So, are you a teacher who just last week had to go from teaching traditional classroom with your students to virtual? Maybe you've done some in the past, but this week has been maybe a little bit of a struggle getting the kids engaged. And how do you have those conversations that you might have in a traditional classroom, but how do you have it in this new virtual classroom? Hi. My name is Bob Coakley, and I'm with a company called Upgrade Performance. And over the last 20 years, I've really learned a lot about virtual classrooms. And I've literally done thousands of training sessions virtually. And so just through sheer kind of making it happen, I've picked up these tips. And I'm here today to share some ideas with you so you can make your virtual classroom even more engaging, which is great for you, the teacher, but it's even better for the students. They look forward to this. Here's 5 tips, and I'll try to go through them quickly. Number 1, prepare people. Send them an email. Let them know what's expected. You might even ask a few questions like, hey, we'll be discussing these topics. Be prepared to answer because I'm going to call on you. So send an email. Let them know. In that email, I like to, especially early on when we're doing the virtual classroom, I say, as soon as you check in to the classroom, find the chat box. And when you get to the chat box, just write in there, I'm here. Now, if you notice people are on board, but they haven't typed in the chat box, that will let you know that they maybe haven't found it yet, and you can kind of guide them early on the call. The other thing is you might start your virtual classroom with a fun question. Now, this question should be, as number 3's tip here, when you ask questions, it should be a must-react question, something that the kids or your participants can't help but want to answer. So it might be, hey, when this quarantine is over, what's the first place you look forward to going to? Or, hey, share with us what you're doing more of now that you're doing homeschool versus going to traditional school. Ask a question that is engaging and they kind of want to answer, and have them answer in the chat box. Now, when you're having them answer questions in the chat box, this question can be answered by everybody. So has this happened to you? You ask like, hey, who would like to share with us, where they like to go on vacation, right? Now, most people stop and they don't answer. So you have silence, it's crickets, right? Or you have people talking over one another. So what you can say is, hey, everybody, in the next 30 seconds, write in the chat box your favorite place to go on vacation or where you hope to go this summer on vacation. And you have people who start answering that. And as they answer that, you can engage them. And that's tip number 4, ask follow-up questions. So you might say, hey, Abigail, why do you like to go to Hawaii? What's in Hawaii that makes you want to go there? Or if you're asking a question about the subject, you might have everyone answer a question about one of the lessons you're talking about. Have them put it in the chat box. And when you see that the kids are answering, you can tap some of the kids that have entered the answers in the chat box. You might say, hey, Mason, tell us how you came up with that answer. Or Mason, tell us why you did that. And that way, that kid has typed that into the chat box. So they're ready to engage. So they're going to react really quickly. So ask follow-up questions. And then lastly is work on your pacing and cadence. I call them the 3 Ps, right? So your pace should vary, right? Shouldn't be too slow or shouldn't be too fast, right? So you want to vary your pacing and add some pauses before some words, like slow down and for effect, add a pause. Say, hey, think for a moment, right? And you might ask a question and actually put a short pause in there. It might only be a half a second, but even that is noticeable and you come across even more clearly, okay? And the last thing is you don't want to be monotone. So the next one is you're punching it. You want to take some words and add inflection and punch it, right? But these are some quick, simple ways that you can make your virtual classroom during this whole quarantine and COVID-19 even more engaging and more fun for both you and your students. Number 1, prep them, send them an email. Number 2, use that chat box, ask questions, must react questions, and have them type it in there. Then when you see the questions, ask follow up. And then finally, as you communicate, make sure you're aware of your pacing, how you can add pauses to be more clear, and add some punch. So I look forward to hearing from you. Love to hear what other challenges you might be having with your new virtual classrooms, and we'll try to bring some more tips to you. Thanks again, and good luck out there.